What would you crave more in wartime? A taste of home, a treat from childhood, a break from the grind? Or maybe none of the above, since all the chocolate shops are empty and you haven't seen dessert since the armistice? Well, for folks in wartime Europe, one country's stores were stocked to the brim. Switzerland had a secret plan. While Europe starved for sweets, Swiss factories kept churning out the cocoa fix. And by 1918, and again by 1945, Switzerland exported a ton of chocolate. Here's how a tiny neutral country kept chocolate flowing through 2 world wars. We're just gonna jump straight into it today, so let's get into it. Switzerland had no cocoa farms, no empire, no established markets abroad. Yet by 1918 and again by 1945, the country exported massive amounts of chocolate. That survival story mixes innovation, neutrality, rationing tactics, military rations, and some clever business moves. So, let's unpack it. And first, let's look at why it matters. Switzerland had no cocoa farms, no empire, yet by 1918 and again by 1945, the country exported massive amounts of chocolate. That survival story mixes innovation, neutrality, rationing tactics, military rations, and some clever business moves. Fact 1. During World War I, chocolate was booming. Actually, World War I was a boom for Swiss chocolate. Before the war, Switzerland's chocolate production was small. By 1915, in the middle of the conflict, Swiss exports leapt from a few hundred tons to tens of thousands of tons. Partly because chocolate was an ideal, non-perishable, high-energy ration for soldiers. Factories scaled up quickly, and Swiss companies tapped into wartime demand across Europe. This leads to another fun fact, which is that chocolate was used as emergency rations for soldiers. It's dense, calorie-rich, and portable. Editor note: show period adverts and a quick animated chart of export growth. 1887, 1915. Fact 2. Switzerland's neutrality was key. Switzerland's political neutrality was pivotal. With both sides needing supplies and Switzerland trading with many countries, Swiss factories could keep selling where possible. That said, neutral status allowed freight to move across borders selectively, helping keep exports open when belligerent nations were focused on essentials. So neutrality was important, but it wasn't without its restrictions. On-screen caption: neutrality. Duck vital trade lifeline, but not without restriction. Editor note: show map with trade routes, train leaving Switzerland, border crossings, customs docks. Fact 3. Rationing, substitutes, and secret recipes. War means shortages, and chocolate makers got creative. Cocoa, sugar, and fats were scarce, so manufacturers used substitutes, stretched recipes, and produced smaller bars. Swiss firms also had agreements with authorities to prioritize certain products and in some cases produced military chocolate specifically formulated for army rations. On-screen caption: rationing, substitutes, military chocolate. Editor note: use sound effect of mixer, close-ups of bars being stamped military or wrapped. Fact 4. Logistics. Keeping exports alive. Keeping exports alive required logistics finesse. Swiss firms prioritized export markets that still paid and maintained relationships with distributors. They adapted packaging and portion sizes for rationing economies and sometimes shipped via neutral ports or through intermediaries. Export-oriented manufacturers who had pre-war distribution networks fared best. On-screen caption: logistics plus relationships and/or survival. Editor note: use fast cuts of conveyor belts, then slow motion as crates go onto trains. Overlay a small statistic. Up to 75% exported early 1900s with citation in description. Exact percent can be cited via Choco Suisse DOC. Fact 5. The Toblerone line. In World War II, things got tougher. Borders closed, imports dried up, and raw material access was squeezed. Switzerland built massive defenses, including concrete anti-tank blocks nicknamed the Toblerone line, a cheeky nod to the bar's triangular peaks. But industry still had to cope with real shortages. Sugar and cocoa were rationed. Factories reduced output or altered recipes to stretch supplies. On-screen caption: World War II. Tougher, but Swiss industry adapts. Editor note: use fast cuts of Swiss fortifications interspersed between shots of chocolate production. Add a fun insert of a tiny Toblerone bar marching past the bunkers. Playful cut? Also use a short animated map showing supply pinch points. Fact 6. Industry cooperation and Choc Suisse. The Swiss chocolate industry didn't act alone. Trade associations helped coordinate production, quality, and exports. Organizations like the predecessors of Choc Suisse played a role in managing scarce resources and presenting a united front to authorities, helping the sector survive the storms of the 20th century. On-screen caption: Industry cooperation, Gaidar's advantage. Editor note: show a quick graphic timeline of Choco Suisse origins and key wartime actions. Now, after the aftermath, how wars shaped the industry. After the wars, Swiss chocolate companies were primed to dominate. They had factory capacity, improved recipes, and a global reputation. Export markets reopened, and the golden age of Swiss chocolate accelerated. Touristic chocolate museums, mass exports, and a national identity built around dairy and mountains. But the wars also pushed change, recipe innovations, packaging strategies, and stronger industry ties. On-screen caption: post-war, boom, plus, innovation. Editor note: use upbeat music. Show old-new montage of brands modernizing. Let's finish with our closing reflection. So the secret was simple and complex. Neutrality opened doors. Industry cooperation kept the lights on. Recipe flexibility handled shortages. And chocolate's practical usefulness in war made it indispensable. If you found this history tasty, like, subscribe, and tell us which wartime chocolate fact surprised you most. On-screen CTA. Like or subscribe. Comment which fact surprised you. On the screen now, we have a 3-second countdown. Then you can show your end screen with your subscribe CTA. You might also include a few seconds of blooper reels or behind-the-scenes footage here to give viewers a little extra something. Something if they stick around until the end. Here's your host with one last thought. Wartime chocolate. It makes you wonder what other tastes and trends history has preserved or maybe invented. What do you think? Drop a comment before you go. And thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.